key question with Jordan, really ever since January 6th, has been what were his communications with Donald Trump on January 6th? Because the question has become all the more interesting as Jordan himself has tripped over answering it multiple times. Let me play this for you.
I've talked to the president so many, I can't remember all the days I've talked to him, but I've certainly talked to the president. I spoke with him that day after, I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. Of course I talked to the president. I talked to him that day. I've been clear about that. I don't recall the number of times.
John, what do you do with that?
Well, that's not the normal Jordan answer. He's pretty crisp and pretty clear on most of his answers. His mind is probably trying to calculate, well, what kind of exposure do I have at this stage in answering that question? And I think he does have exposure. Because of the text he forwarded the day before, I'll tell you, if they ever start pursuing conspiracy charges, he walked right into a conspiracy to obstruct Congress. Was it a seditious conspiracy? May well have been. So I think he knows he has exposure, and if he ever is in front of that committee, he'll probably have to take the fifth. That's probably another reason he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, you can assume that. Look, Republican Congressman Scott Perry, he rejected this voluntary request as well, outright, kind of slamming the committee. Obviously, Jordan is likely to follow suit in that. You've said they should compel him with a subpoena, but how big of a deal would this be? Because is there a risk at this point, as we've kind of seen this trend of just person after person, ally after ally, defying subpoenas, that it just doesn't have anything of the impact they want it to at this point?
Well, if the impact they want to get is the fact that the people who are associated with Trump won't cooperate, I think they're doing a good job of showing that, and they're stacking them up one after another. If it ever comes to a showdown, and Jordan would probably take this to court, as others have, it's a different privilege this time it's in play. It's called the Speech and Debate Clause of the Constitution, provides members of Congress with a safe haven for anything they do as part of the legislative process. Now, I don't think planning or assisting or asking to call off an insurrection is any way connected with the legislative process. But, you know, we don't know the outer reach of this privilege. It's one that's really had very little court test, been maybe a dozen cases on it. So that's what he would rely on if push comes to shove. And I don't think people really want to test that privilege too much.
We've definitely seen a lot of people really testing the outer bounds of many privileges in recent months and years here in Washington. It's good to see you, John. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Out front for us next, the jury not finding it easy to reach a verdict in the trial of a former police officer who confused her taser and her gun. Deliberations on day 3 have just wrapped with no decision. And doctors and nurses overwhelmed again as COVID numbers are